In Miyazaki's 2001 film Spirited Away, 10-year-old Chihiro plays the role of the protagonist as the story is told through her perspective. Chihiro's parents are typical members of Japan's newly affluent middle class. At the beginning of the film, they are driving a shiny new Audi to a new house in the suburbs. The father is especially smug as a self-satisfied bourgeois who is thrilled when he speeds down a narrow path leading to what he thinks is the gate to his pricey new dream home. When Chihiro asks him, "Daddy, are we lost?" he replies, "We're fine. We've got four-wheel drive. Nothing will get in his way." He takes a shortcut over an old country road, relishing the opportunity to ride roughshod over nature. None of the signs that foreshadow their approach to a different world, such as a deserted-looking torii gate next to many small shrines and a weird-looking statue standing next to the path, catch his attention.
But Mom! Wait for me!
After they wander into an empty street lined with old-fashioned shops, the family goes into a place to eat. The parents start to help themselves to the food that is set out. When Chihiro tries to stop them, the father says, "Don't worry, you've got Daddy here. I've got credit cards and cash." Miyazaki's comments on the film reveal that Spirited Away is more than a critique of contemporary Japanese materialism and consumerism. The anime film is also about the loss of any sense of history or identity. Miyazaki states, "In contemporary society where borders are disappearing rapidly, those who have no place to return to are the most insignificant sort of people. A place is past and history. Those who have no history, people who have forgotten their history, I reckon, cannot but simply vanish like ephemeral mayflies, or be turned into chickens and keep on laying eggs until they are finally processed for food." Let us distinguish the two major definitions of anime. Anime is simply the word used by the Japanese for all animation, without regard to its nation of origin. Outside of Japan, the common use of the word anime is referred specifically to Japanese animation. To keep things simple, in this video I will be using the second definition when referring to anime. Anime in particular has a regular presence in American life. Children are growing up on it in the form of Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Adults are rediscovering the joy of cartoons on channels like Adult Swim, which offer more violent and sexualized anime aimed at an older audience, such as Attack on Titan and Death Note. English dubbed anime is mixed in with American cartoons on kids' networks like Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. American fans have merged not only the material, but also the fandom traditions from Japan with their own, leading to a new hybrid fandom. By interacting with the stories and characters of popular anime and manga through fanfiction or cosplay and video games, American fans have personalized and adapted the medium to make it their own. What could be seen as a failure to appreciate the uniquely Japanese aspects of anime can just as easily be seen as an example of the type of negotiated understandings that result from encoding and decoding content differently. Many who see anime for the first time comment on certain visual qualities that strike them as different from Western animation. Hair movement is noticeable. Unlike many animated works where hair is more like a helmet, at the right dramatic moment a lock may fall, or a hand will move to push hair back from their face. Even hair color can be conspicuous. Most Japanese have black or very dark brown hair, and a very few have deep red hair. To use precise natural hair colors would make it harder to distinguish between characters. For this reason, a character's hair may be very unnatural in color. An example of this is the green hair of Urusei Yatsura's alien princess Slum, and the unusual colors in a highly stylized work like Shoujo Kakume Utena. Anime increased in significance with the development of video technology. This dramatic growth is all the more remarkable since anime and manga are not primarily a Japanese export. They are an American import, a market created by and fueled by fanish demand. Until the mid-1990s, aside from a few edited and dubbed offerings on network television, fans were on their own when it came to watching anime or reading manga. Only later, once the fans had shown the way, did Japanese companies like Bandai begin to actively market their products in the United States. One facet of the growing interest in anime and manga is a growing interest in Japan. Fans want to have a greater understanding of the shows they enjoy, so they study foods, geography, history, clothing, martial arts, contemporary pop culture, etiquette, and any other aspect of Japanese society and culture that they may be interested in. Along with all the anime-related events, anime conventions may have limited enrollment tea ceremonies, workshops on popular music, and presentations on history and other topics. The dealer's room is a must for any anime convention and will often include representatives from culture groups and travel agencies. Susan Naper, a professor of the Japanese program at Tufts University, points out that, in Spirited Away, loss of history in every possible aspect, which produces the most dramatic suspense in the film, describes fear for loss or corruption of cultural identity. And the most distinctive of all fears is loss of memory or loss of power of words. The abundant images of the bubble years in the movie represent a society without tradition and history. This loss may be the result of globalization, particularly America's creeping yet unstoppable culture domination of Japan. Although such anxieties imbue Miyazaki's lament over the loss of Japanese tradition, it is not the only issue at stake, for Miyazaki sees Western culture as now a part of Japanese culture. What then does Miyazaki regard as traditional Japanese culture? By pseudo-Western, Miyazaki means a style that mixes Western and traditional Japanese features. One of the reasons Miyazaki gives for adopting this style is to emphasize the rich diversity that makes up traditional Japanese culture. For Miyazaki, Japanese art is not purely Japanese. It does not represent an unchanging ancient heritage unsullied by foreign cultures. It is rather an ever-changing hybrid, combining ideas and styles from various cultures at various historical periods. According to Miyazaki, Japanese culture does not consist of distinctive layers. It fuses diverse culture elements into something new. Because the world of Japanese anime is a contested culture, with many different viewers decoding anime differently,